Only on News 5, despite last month's announcement to move U.S. Space Command to Alabama, the fight to keep Colorado Springs as the permanent home continues. Elected leaders at all levels have made calls for the Biden administration to look into the decision. We're taking a deep dive this afternoon into all the efforts underway.
I am extremely disappointed by this development.
No matter what side of the aisle,
it just makes common sense that Colorado's home.
Colorado's elected officials seem to agree on one thing: U.S. Space Command belongs here in the Springs.
We want the military leaders to make the best decision for the national security of the United States.
Community leaders at all levels are pulling out the stops to try and get the Biden administration to look into former President Trump's decision to move Space Command from its temporary home here in Colorado Springs to Redstone Arsenal in Huntsville, Alabama. But first, let's clarify some things, mainly the difference between U.S. Space Command and U.S. Space Force. Space Force is the newest and sixth branch of the U.S. military. Like the Army, Navy, and Air Force, and like all branches, it's headquartered at the Pentagon. Space Command is one of 11 combatant commands across the military. It encompasses all of the space components of each branch of the military, from Army to Navy to Air Force to Space Force. Numerous cities throughout the country put their names into the running to serve as the headquarters for U.S. Space Command. In May, the Trump administration named Peterson Air Force Base the temporary home for at least 6 years. Then in November, 6 places, including Colorado Springs, were named as finalists, leading to January's announcement to make Huntsville, Alabama the permanent home.
We're working very closely with our elected leaders at all levels.
For leaders with Colorado Springs Chamber and EDC, the announcement last month to move Space Command didn't come as a huge surprise.
We predicted this a year ago, and that's why we started the campaign.
But the economic impact, no doubt a big driver to cities fighting to get the headquarters, or in Colorado Springs' case, the fight to keep it, which includes 1,400 higher-earning jobs. The chamber believes there's more business tied to it as well.
I've seen some estimates that the growth in the aerospace industry here would be over $1 billion.
The chamber wants to see a pause on the possible move.
Review it, figure out what really happened, and then listen to the military leaders.
And the efforts don't stop there. State lawmakers passed a memorial during its soft opening of the General Assembly last month.
There's not really an understanding as to why that decision was made. All leads indicate that Colorado is the best strategic position.
And all 9 members of Colorado's congressional delegation penned a letter to President Biden last week, asking for an investigation into why the move was made, adding the process was not fair or impartial, citing reasons for national security, political influence, lack of transparency, and lack of sufficient data. But despite the decision already made, Colorado's leaders remain optimistic the state will be named the permanent home after all. And we'll be following the progress of these efforts in the coming weeks and let you know what happens. And if there's a topic you want us to take a deep dive into, we want to know. Email us at deepdive@koaa.com.